Thornbridge Manor, the Carlyle family's home for countless generations. The Revenant Alexa Carlyle and her 3 adult children, younger brother Zachary, grandson and daughter-in-law, are all gathered to conduct Carlyle's sham funeral. Curiously, Carlyle summoned a famous London PI soon after arriving this morning, but his purpose at Thornbridge is yet unclear. Now, the target knows that you're coming, and her guard detail is top-notch. So Mr. Gray will secure their nearby field HQ and intercept all calls going in and out of the estate. Any appeal for backup is going to fall on very deaf ears. Good luck, gentlemen.
Private area, sir. Phineas Whitmer, private investigator. I have an appointment with Madame Carlyle. Please wait.
Mr. Whitmer is here to see Madame Carlyle. You can go right in.
That is Phineas Whitmer, the famous private investigator hired by Madame Carlyle this morning. I'm curious why he's here. Maybe you should do some detecting yourself, 47. A famous private investigator summoned by Alexa Carlyle has arrived at Thornbridge Manor. If you take his place, it may be an opportunity to get close to Madame Carlyle.
Huh? What the hell was that? Maybe it was just a poltergeist. Oh, no, no. Oh.
Don't touch me! Ah! Don't touch me, help!
Command, how do you read me? Over. There's some loose cannon disturbing public order.
Command, I have nothing to report from my current location. Over.
Here.
Hey, how you doing? Looking good today, sir.
I bet you're a great dancer.
I don't like dancing.
Thank you
What
for
about
coming on such short notice.
You like food?
A great tragedy has fallen upon us, and I need a quick resolution. Handled with absolute discretion.
Results and discretion are my speciality.
Very well. I suppose you will want to start at the crime scene.
In my experience, a thorough examination of a potential crime scene is half the job done.
Good. Fernsby will take over from here.
I am Mr. Fernsby, the butler. Madame Carlyle has asked me to assist you in any way possible. Mr. Whitmer, I understand that you've traveled from London. Would you care for some refreshments? Or do you prefer to go straight to Mr. Zachary's sleeping quarters?
I prefer to get started.
As you wish. If you'll follow me, sir.
You know, I told Patrick off. I'm not interested in... someone who wants...
I feel obliged to point out that current affairs surrounding Madame Carlyle of a delicate nature. You may be familiar with the recent announcement of her death. You'll probably learn that the stage funeral is scheduled to take place tomorrow. Madam's children were not informed until this morning, but their mothers were in fact not there at all. So to them, they seem affected by the rather unusual situation. I trust I do not need to remind you that there will be consequences if word gets out that Madame Carlyle is still alive.
I'll consider her dead when I leave.
Before you inspect the crime scene, I will tell you this. The case concerns the death of Mr. Zachary, Madame Carlyle's younger brother. He was found dead in his bed this morning. The door was locked from the inside, and a suicide letter was found in his room. However, Madame Carlyle suspects foul play and will not accept that he took his own life. I've prepared some information for you, so please do come and see me when you've finished your investigation of the crime scene. This is Mr. Zachary's room. To my right.
A locked room murder mystery, 47. I trust you'll get to the bottom of this. Zachary's suicide note. Also, a sample of handwriting. It could be relevant to compare to other samples to establish its authenticity. Zachary was shopping for New Wellingtons last night. Not exactly what you would expect from someone suicidal. Why don't you use your camera to scan the dead body, 47?
Throat markings indicate a rare, short-lived plant poison killed him. Spread shows time of death at around 10 o'clock last night.
You do know your poisons, 47.
A hidden door.
It's a secret passage. This could explain how the door was locked from the inside. A photocopy of the floor plans. Somebody's been researching the secret ins and outs of Thornbridge Manor. I believe you've done a thorough search of the crime scene, 47. Maybe it's time to see the butler. I'm curious about the information he's prepared for you.
Mr. Fernsby, I'm done with the crime scene.
Did you establish a time of death?
Zachary died around 10 o'clock last night.
Well, that means the staff were off duty. And Madame Carlyle and her security didn't arrive until this morning. That leaves Madame's family and myself as the only persons here when he died. And before you ask, no, I do not have an alibi. I was alone in my office at the time of death. Here's the material that I prepared for you. It's a list of the possible suspects and their quarters. Hopefully that will help you keep track of your findings. Please come and see me when you talk to the case, and I will take you to Madame Carlyle.
This is very useful information, 47. So how does one solve a murder mystery, 47? Motive, means, and opportunity, I believe. May I suggest you ask the suspects for alibis? Or perhaps do you prefer searching the manor for clues first?
Wow. Sir, please refrain from throwing stuff around.
How tall are you? You could be a model, you know.
Right.
I'm serious.
Hmm?
Hey, who is throwing stuff around here? Come on! Oh, what is going on here? So annoying. Hey, back off a bit, would ya? I'm serious. I have a friend who's a model. She says that's the sweet, sweet life. You should come and stay at my place in London. We can have her come over. Why are you all up in my face, mister? Please, behave. I'm serious. I have a friend who's a model. She says that's the sweet, sweet life. You should come and stay at my place in London. We can have her come over. Give you some tips.
I'm quite happy here, thanks.
Patrick Carlyle, can you tell me where you were yesterday evening?
shit. It's that sneaky butler, isn't it? He ratted me out. Elaine, give us some privacy, would you? Don't tell Mother, okay? She's really tense these days, and the last thing I need is more hassle. I took that pretty blonde, Rosie, for an evening stroll. I mean, how the fuck am I expected to cope for an entire weekend in this shithole? I'm bored out of my mind. If that's all, I think I'll get back to my slow death by boredom.
Oh, by the way, I told Kate about this text.
What did she say?
Well, I thought she'd be mad at me, but she thanked me as the undisputed citizen I was never. Did everything to talk.
On top of everything, Rosie thinks she's in love with young Patrick. I mean, that's a breaking heart happening if I ever saw one.
Life can be tough sometimes.
Alexa back from the dead, a make-believe funeral, a murder mystery.
Rosie, tell me what you did last night.
I'm in trouble, aren't I? I spent the evening with Patrick. We met after dinner and I went home at 1 in the morning. He said he needed someone real to talk to. When he looks at you, it makes you feel like the center of the universe. Like a real princess.
But now he just ignores her.
Well, he's under a lot of pressure.
He's an idiot. That's what he is.
But he was such a gentleman. He gave me his
That is the door to Mr. Fernsby's office. Zachary's diary. This is big. He was about to confess to the world that he and Alexa murdered their older brother Montgomery 46 years ago. And apparently, Mr. Fernsby helped make the murder look like an accident. And 47, the handwriting doesn't match the suicide letter in his room, proving he didn't write it himself.
What? Hello?
Excuse me.
Rebecca Carlyle, can you tell me about yesterday evening?
We don't really see much of each other, my brothers and I. I suppose it takes our mother's funeral to bring us together, and even then, it's not like we sit on each other's laps. Now, let's see. Patrick, Gregory's son, disappeared straight after dinner. You know, I think he might be in some sort of trouble. Edward wanted to go as well, but Gregory convinced him to stay for a few drinks before they went off for a pint at the local at 9:15. I swear Gregory enjoys Edward's discomfort over staying here. I had a conference call with my New York office at 9, so I spent 3 hours on my laptop in my room and went straight to bed afterwards. I don't know about Emma. She did act a bit strange. You know, I bet she was making lists of changes needing to be done once she gets her hands on Thornbridge Manor. Quite the shock she had when Mother arrived during breakfast.
Alexa said something.
If I could be bothered, I'd be worried about your mental health, Emma. But sorry, I'm having too much fun enjoying the circus.
Emma Carlyle, can you tell me where you were yesterday evening?
Surely I'm not a suspect.
I need to account for everyone.
Well, I spent the evening with my family, but I got an awful migraine and had to take to bed. Everyone can attest to that. I believe I went up when the boys sat down for a drink around 8 o'clock. Is that all?
How did you feel about Zachary?
I might as well be honest. His presence was always awkward. But how do you have a meaningful conversation with a man who only cares about plants? In my opinion, Alexa bears some responsibility for how this ended. She supported his self-limiting behavior by letting him live here. Anything else you want to know?
Gregory Carlyle, can you tell me where you were yesterday evening?
Oh, you're wondering about my alibi, Mr. Detective. Well, I left Thornbridge around 8:30 for a pint with Edward. I wish I hadn't. Quiz night at the inn. On the other hand, staying here with Zachary, my obnoxious sister, and the wife sporting another one of her headaches would have been a fate worse than death. The short of it, Zachary was very much alive when we left. I stayed for the last shout, and I was back here just before midnight. Is that all?
Tell me about Zachary.
Zach? Huh. Such a sad old sod. A bit heavy on the bottle, but who could blame him? Only company he had was his rare plants and mother, who travels more than she stays here. Honestly, I can't say which is the bigger bore. He's better off dead. Anything else you want to pry from...
When he can play like that.
Oh.
You smell nicer, but this is still too close.
Professor Edward Carlyle, can you tell me your whereabouts for last night?
Oh, yes, this dreadful business with Zachary. I stay at the local inn. You see, I prefer not... to spend the night here at Thornbridge Manor. My brother Gregory came along for a nightcap. He'll never admit it, but I think he understands that I find this whole thing upsetting and wanted to provide some comfort. I believe we went to the Stag's Head around 8:30. If that's all, I have...
Can you tell me about Zachary's behavior last night?
I certainly didn't expect him to commit suicide. Sure, he was upset by Mother's supposed... death. We were. But he seemed more engaged than usual. You should ask Rebecca. They had a long talk. Did you know that he hadn't left Thornbridge Manor in nearly 50 years? His plants, Mother, and the staff were all the company he had. Anything else I can do to help?
Mr. Fernsby might... All right,
yeah.
Later.
That door leads to Emma and Gregory's room.
I bet he's stringing... You've got to be kidding me. Aha!
Got some strange noises here.
Don't be stupid. Stop acting like you're 15. You're a grown woman.
Yeah.
What?
A keychain pendant for the greenhouse. What's that doing in Emma and Gregory's room, I wonder? And why is the key missing? Now this is interesting, 47. A letter from Emma's mother stating that Emma is the illegitimate child of Alexa's late older brother, Montgomery. And listen to this. She claims to have witnessed Alexa and Zachary murder him. The plot thickens.
Oh, stop pacing.
That is the door to Rebecca's room. I can see from the log that Rebecca was in a conference call from 9 p.m. to midnight last night.
Painkillers. Lethal if you use enough of them.
But not the poison used to kill Zachary. Of course, Madame Carlyle doesn't know that. Are you considering to frame the butler, 47? Mr. Fernsby clearly didn't commit the murder, but I think you have enough evidence to convince Madame Carlyle he did. Maybe you should tell him you are ready to present your findings. Unless, of course, you want to do some more detecting, 47?
Hello there, sir.
I'm ready to present my conclusion to Madame Carlyle.
Very well. If you'll follow me, sir.
Hello, sir.
This is Madame Carlyle's office. Please step inside.
Your detective skills have gained you access to the Lion's Den, 47. Now, go claim your reward.
Hello, sir.
So, Mr. Whitmer, you've reached a conclusion. Take a seat. Please, go ahead.
The butler, Mr. Fernsby, killed Zachary.
Fernsby? Oh, you've got that wrong. He would never do such a thing. He is the most loyal man I have ever met.
I found pills in his office that matches the poison that killed your brother. Furthermore, I found Zachary's notebook, half burned, in Mr. Fernsby's fireplace. It showed that Zachary intended to publish a written confession to a murder the two of you committed nearly 50 years ago. The murder of your older brother, Montgomery.
That's outrageous. We did no such thing.
No need to feign innocence. I know a killer when I see one, and my discretion is assured. The papers also described how Mr. Fernsby helped you stage the murder of Montgomery as an accident. I believe he killed Zachary not to be exposed as an accomplice to murder.
Sweet Fernsby. You are wrong, Mr. Whitmer. He did not do it to protect himself. He did it to protect the Carlyle legacy. Mr. Fernsby, like myself, understands that sacrifices must be made to secure stability and prosperity. Mr. Whitmer, I'd appreciate it if your findings never leave this room. I understand Fernsby's actions, and there is no need for them to have more consequences than they already have. Fernsby was very fond of Zachary, and I'm sure his decision will haunt him to the day he dies. About your reward, have you considered an amount?
I want the file you have on Arthur Edwards.
Arthur Edwards, the Constant. But that must mean you're... I expected you'd show up. But you're not here to kill me. If you were, you would have already. The enemy of my enemy, I suppose. You can have it. You earned it. The file you want is in the safe. Please remain
Good work,
seated.
47.
Well,
That's
well,
the file on Arthur Edwards secured. Time to take care of Madame Carlyle.
The file you want is in the safe. Good hunting. I need some privacy. Thank you.
Huh?
Mission complete. Well done, 47.
Sir.
Command, you there? Someone's making trouble. Possibly high on drugs.
Around. You're going to have to be a bit more specific.